My grandfather is remembered for his conservation work for the environment, etc. But when he started out, it was really underwater archaeology he was doing in the Mediterranean. He was doing work looking for treasure ships for one of his shows in the Silverbank off the Dominican Republic. We went back to find the same ships that he was looking for that were subsequently lost, and we did. We found one of them. So he loved mysteries and history and stories about swashbuckling adventure as much as the next guy. Growing up with my grandfather and his legacy, and my father, who isn't as well remembered, but had a huge influence on that work and was a big part of that work, is a great honor. I think that my father died 6 months before I was born, and so I never knew him. But I grew up with his films and his books and his work. He produced and directed 26 episodes of The Undersea World of Jacques Cousteau all through the 70s, and had his own series, Oasis in Space, and did all sorts of his own work. So growing up with the work that he did and the stories from my mother was so impactful for me, but still always slightly removed because I never knew him personally. And so my work has, I think, been in part a way to connect with him and who he was. As a son, you always ask those questions, of course, especially if you don't know. Even if you do know your father, there's always that, I think, that existential kind of angst around who am I, where's my place in this world? So certainly within the family and then within the broader context of a legacy that's a global legacy was always important to me. And when I think about adventure, I think about the work that I do. My father had a saying that adventure is where you lead a full life. And people ask me often about, your father died in such an expedition, and they were repairing front landing gear of the airplane, and it malfunctioned when they were landing on the water, and there was an airplane accident and he was killed. Doesn't that make you kind of worried or afraid or scared of these adventures? Actually has made me embrace adventure more. I think though that experience had a counter effect where I recognized that life is short and it can end at any moment, and so embrace life, engage in these adventures, don't recoil from them, quite the contrary, seek them out and pursue them, not with reckless abandon. Earth Echo is one of the leading youth environmental education organizations in the country, and our whole purpose is to empower and inspire young people to take action to build a sustainable world. Our vision is a vision that my father and grandfather, I was raised with, essentially, that every single child born has the right to walk on green grass under a blue sky, to breathe fresh air and drink clean water, fundamental, universal rights. And we believe that the best way to build a sustainable world is to engage and empower young people as the change agents of the world, because truly they are. Every great movement and successful social movement has been driven by a young generation, a new generation. My grandfather specifically drilled into me growing up. He was like, we can't talk about conservation without talking about education. And I always hear him in my ear, which is what inspired me to found Earth Echo and do the work that we do there with kids all over the world. And it's really what gives me hope. There's a lot of bad news that we hear in the headlines, a lot of sad things going on. But when I get out and I spend time with young people who are so fired up, who are so engaged, who really believe in the power that they have to change the world, it gives me hope.